The title of this story is Teenage Girls and Other Natural Disasters. For those of you seeing me for the first time, I would bet your first thought was, she looks like the model of a good mother. You would be correct. In the mid-'80s, I was a single mom living in Berkeley, directing mental health and substance abuse treatment programs. On top of that, which is taxing on my time, mental agility, and emotional stamina, I had a daughter in high school. Which of those things were more challenging remains a healthy debate, even though I was crazy about my kid. Erica was an adorable, wild child, and I was determined to raise someone who was kind, strong, honest, selective, fearless, and responsible. Responsible. Please keep that word in mind as we continue this journey. I didn't think of myself as easily surprised, particularly when it came to my child. We spent enough time together that I was convinced that what I was imparting, she was ingesting. For example, I was also volunteering for the AIDS Project of the East Bay in Oakland, which provided me with condoms to distribute. I gave my 16-year-old daughter and all of her friends a mound of condoms and said, "Don't have sex." But if you do it responsibly and use these. Okay, so that's why they called me the cool mom. I'm pretty sure that's what they called me. I mean, she must have called me that because at 16 years old, I required her to watch 60 Minutes with me every Sunday night, after which I quizzed her on what she learned. It also makes me smile to remember the brisk walks we took after every evening meal. It's good for digestion. Come on, what's cooler than that for a 16-year-old? I remember her using the word tumultuous to describe the times she was sneaking out of her bedroom window and changing her failing grades on her report card to show all A's. Someone said, "How'd she get so smart?" I told them to shut up. But tumultuous, that was clearly the teenage hormonal haze talking. That's not how I remembered it. I remembered carrying her on my back when she was little as I was marching against the Vietnam War. And the fantastic Chinese restaurant I took her to as a teenager all the time. It was apparently not a permitted restaurant, but the living room of the chef's house and only seated 8 people. It was Berkeley. It was wonderful. My wild child hung out with a group of adorable friends who called themselves the Fun Bunch. I don't know what led them to call themselves the Fun Bunch. I imagine it meant picnics and daffodil fields and rides on merry-go-rounds. I had to, otherwise I would have killed myself. Okay. This particular story starts with the end of a very tough week. As the director of mental health and substance abuse treatment programs, I was dealing with parents in prison and children involved in drive-bys. I also had a boss who treated sexual harassment like it was an Olympic event in which he was training to earn a medal. He was a real pig. Okay. I was looking forward to a chill weekend involving a long walk, reading some light fare like the Memoirs of a Survivor, and watching Saturday Night Live. Rosanna Dana had been my spirit guide. My daughter asked if she could spend the night at her friend Mia's house. They were going to watch Who's the Boss and chill. Mia was a quiet, middle-class kid, so I thought she's a safe bet. Wait a minute, you haven't heard it. Okay. I gave Erica a hug and she walked off to the bus stop. I settled in for what I thought would be a relaxing evening at home. I hit the hay after watching the church lady humiliate folks on national television. It relaxed me. Around 3 a.m., my phone rang. I am reliving this fucking shit right now. Back then, the only way to silence your phone was to unplug it from the wall, and it was loud. Ring! I bolted up like someone had rung the starting bell in a prize fight. What the fuck? I pick up the phone, offering a very punch-drunk hello. When a woman asks if I have a daughter named Erica Cohn, well, my heart starts pounding madly. I take a breath, and I say in a very shaky voice, yes, I do. I start vibrating. Who's this woman, and what the hell happened to my kid? But then she says, this is the Berkeley Police Department. And it was not her fault. Well, of course it wasn't Erica's fault. She's a wild child, but she's too smart to. What the fuck wasn't her fault? I think. She then says she's here. She can explain everything to you. Would you like to come and pick her up? I take a moment to consider the question. It's the middle of the night. It's dark. It's cold. I'm beat, and the call isn't coming from a hospital. Being the typical doting mother I was, I think, nah, I really don't want to pick her up. Actually, that's the last thing I want to do. I don't say that. Again, this kind woman says, you can come and get her. She'll explain everything. Oh yeah, I'm sure she will, I say, mustering up the sweetest voice I could at freaking 3 a.m. I ask her if there are other parents picking up their kids whose fault it wasn't also, because I'm sure she didn't get into this mess by herself. I ask if one of them can please drop off my briefly incarcerated child. Of course, she says. So I curled back up in my warm bed and waited for my sweet darling to come home. When I hear her trying to sneak up the steps, like I wouldn't be waiting up for her, I say, hello, Erica. Go to bed. We'll discuss this in the morning. And in the morning we did. Being the typical doting mother, I started the conversation asking, what the fuck happened? Well, it went something like this. Erica and Mia were in Berkeley at an underage club. I asked her if the club was called Mia's House, since that's where she said she was going. Turns out, nope. They were in front of the club, figuring out how to get home, thinking maybe a cab, when James pulls up in a brand new BMW. He asks them if they want to ride home. Who the hell is James? Ma, I know him from school. We'll circle back to that. So the girls get into the car with 3 boys. So far, my daughter is making very good choices. I'm so proud of her. As soon as the car pulls away, sirens are raging, and they are being chased by the Berkeley police and signaled to pull over. Mia teasingly asks, is this car stolen? James tells her to shut up. He sounds like a charmer. They get pulled over and are told to get out of the car. The cops did a full body pat down on all of them, including Erica and Mia. Then they search the car where they find a loaded gun. What the fuck? It seems that they were originally stopped because the cops saw the girls getting into the car and wanted to make sure they weren't forced to get in. Did I mention that James was black? 2 middle-class white girls climbing into a BMW with 3 spiffy black males was enough for the police to pull over the car in the 80s. That would never happen today. Oh, the cops then found out that the car had been stolen earlier in the day. Mia called it. Stolen and used in a bank robbery by James and his friends. The boys were arrested and taken to the police station along with Mia and Erica. The only reason the girls were not arrested was because the cops saw them getting into the car after it was stolen and the bank robbery had already been committed. Had they not seen that, they could have accused the girls of stealing the car and robbing the bank as well, and Erica and Mia could be in prison today. After telling me the story, I lovingly asked her, what the hell were you thinking? She said, Ma, it was James. I said, who the hell is James? Ma, I know him from school. Not very well, I said, because I never heard his goddamn name before. This went back and forth for quite a while until I calmed down quite a while. And I remembered then how happy I was that she was safe, alive, and not a bank robber. I wrapped my arms around her, I hugged her, and told her what an idiot she had been. Then I grounded her for the rest of her life, telling her she would get off punishment when I believed she had learned her lesson. She is still in her bedroom today. Model of a good mother. You were correct. Thank you.